of seconds there, ladies and gentlemen. Extremely sorry about that, but welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Gamer Days Community Cup Valorant as the quarterfinal stage continues. And as per usual, Salty's old curse has now been brought on to me. My mic was not on, and it's just the most caster thing to do when you're on an online broadcast. But hey, the show has to go on. The games still have to continue, and the links down in the description need to be clicked on by you because, of course, on Amazon we have incredible deals coming in for the Intel Gamer Days. Make sure to check that out, or even check out the pinned comment, as we are going to be talking about a little bit more about how this tournament has been going, how the teams have been playing, and how the stage has been building up to this point. There's a lot of different things that have happened. There's a lot of games that have been heartbreaks throughout that entire qualifier series, and that's why we had to bring you all the action. Yeah, of course, it is a BO1. Yes, of course, these BO3s are a little bit more exciting, but that doesn't mean that a lot of the storylines that were created in those qualifier stages did not bode well for everyone. You need to consider something, that a lot of these teams, they're fighting for a lot here, especially when a prize pool of 3 lakh INR is on the line, with the first place getting 2 and the runners-up getting 1. There is no third place position. You need to get to that grand final stage if you want anything to go back home.
Yep, for sure. I think the third place not being there kind of defines the fact that we always have to look forward to the grand finals. Does not matter where in the tournament you stand or what is your competitive experience, you will have to try as hard as possibly can. Moving on to the format, of course, look at this. We are done with the qualifiers already. Till the 28th of August. Today is the 29th, the first day of playoffs, where we have 2 best of 3s lined up for all of you gentlemen who is watching the stream. So make sure you like and subscribe so that you get notified of all the upcoming updates. But coming back to the tournament, I think Aggressive, we are in with some amazing teams who are in the playoffs currently. They've shown some great caliber, experience, as well as skill. And I'm extremely excited to find out, can they stand the test of time? Can they endure longer durations? For sure, a lot of these players are professionals, but the ones who are slowly maturing, the ones who are gathering experience, can they bear the brunt of a best of 3 is my question.
It's going to be difficult, but it's not impossible. That is the thing that I will be telling you guys, because a lot of these teams, they don't have to really worry about that BO5 series or the grand final, right? Because that's where a lot of teams tend to crumble. But it's Gangan Galaxy, ladies and gentlemen, going up against the side of Team EXO. Team EXO yesterday were an absolute force to be reckoned with. The map of Haven was theirs for the taking, but up against Gangan Galaxy, you having good aim is not really the end all be all where you're going to be able to take a victory. You need to have the proper team play and synergy to really work out in the way that you would have wanted, because especially when you have a team that really is that well synergized, it's a set plays that you need to bring onto the table that will give you that certain edge. Alpha Warrior, it's kind of the thing, like you're going to say I'm a Raider hater, but up against Gangan Galaxy and the set plays that they do, and with Mighty just running around breaking ankles for everyone on that Neon, do you really believe that one Reyna is going to be enough utility to try and stop them? I don't think so.
I think this is a very trivial composition coming in from Team EXO, to be honest, because you have a double duelist, you do have a Yoru, but to complement the Yoru, you don't have anything which works as a shield to let Yoru go and use his teleports, right? You need that diversion, and that usually comes in from the ISO, that usually comes in with a flash agent, maybe with a breach or something like that, but you do not have it there. Right, the rest of the 3 agents, the Sova, the Omen, and the Cypher, are very basic picks on the other side from Team Gangan Galaxy. I think we are seeing set plays that we've seen before as well on the map of Haven. So this is really going to be a match of comfort, I feel like, because Alpha Warrior on that arena has been super successful, and he wants to go with that comfort pick. He does not want to I would say break the chain of events that has happened so far, and that is only crucial. But since this is a best of 3 tournament, best of 3 match rather, I think he will have the opportunity to try and make adjustments later on in the match if it does require him to. But the first game, I absolutely go with him going in with his comfort pick. But ladies and gentlemen, we are inside of the map of Haven, and it begins. Aggressive.
Absolutely. This is where the real start will happen for both of these squads here. Mighty already knee deep in enemy territory. He's just gonna try to take this fight here. So Grom's immediately gonna try to run away. Doesn't want to risk it. This is a big change though overall for the members of Team EXO, where they're not really picking up on that jet here, but instead having that here to give that extra little tad bit of utility to bring onto the table. The Rita be able to do quite a bit here. Alpha Warrior again coming alive when it just comes down to the raw mechanical skill, but it's just not going to be enough, because when two players beat you out at the same time, you need to guarantee those shots. Poor old Alpha just didn't really run away in the moment that he could have wanted. Down two players already. Everyone running in towards the sides, and Grom's going to be the first line of damage for it all. Flash in hand, ready and prepared. Going for the jump down. Savage Yoda, good for the kill, but an instantaneous trade off from the sidelines. Mighty going in for the peaks, going in for the shots. Last one to be spotted, and a shock dart possibly taking Mighty's life, but no, it's not going to be it. As Gangan Galaxy, they take the first initial round for themselves, and this pistol looks to be a little bit of a telltale sign on how they're going to be playing this entire attacking side.
Yeah, I mean, this was a quick execution once again. Alpha Warrior on his aggressive turf just wanted to go in as quickly as he possibly can. There were a lot of revances from Gangan Galaxy, but at the end it was, of course, Team EXO IND falling on the back of that 1v1, to be honest. So it's not like there is a clear distinction of who is going to win, and I like the competition already. Outlaws on Scar, if he can make use of that, I think he certainly can pick up a quick early kill. But Team EXO IND, I believe they are aware of the threat and they're not giving in that easily. So this is rather going to be a long round, and Gangan Galaxy will have to find those spaces. Sova's just completely empty. The Breach will try and duel the Sova, and I think he's been marked, so they know that there is at least one Sova on towards that A site. But do they have a plan to break it?
I need to wait and see for this one. Team EXO now already looking for this, but they're just not going to be able to. Knight Rider just jumps through in force from the back line. Sprays to connects, and Grom's going to be able to take down Mighty in the process, but that's completely fine. I don't really worry about just yet. Good for the opener. Knight Rider just already jumping in, showing his aggression here. Not really picking up on the duelist, but instead a much more supportive role for the team, which is understandably so, as fast swings coming in from poor old Gorok. He tried to run and gun, but gets immediately brought back down to earth. Good initial round coming in from members of Gangan Galaxy, but losing out on two weapons, yeah, that's going to hurt them just a tiny little bit, but they're able to retrieve it at the end of the day. But Mighty, I do believe that he's just going to be picking up another shotgun and just brute forcing it to the site. Yeah, he is going to be doing that.
Gangan Galaxy, 2 rounds quickly up ahead. Team EXO IND, it's not like they're not getting kills. They've gotten themselves a few to start things off to get up the mark, but let's find out what happens in a full buy round. Can they defend this beast of Gangan Galaxy? Mighty, though, on with the Sheriff, is already been marked by Sangram. Now, you've been talking about Mighty and his slides and how he actually breaks ankles. Waiting to find out if that actually happens. Mighty,
He's in a
I'd say Mighty
bad
hesitates.
spot.
Yeah, he hesitates, right? He kind of moves back, falls back. Same goes with Gangan, but Savage Yoda punishes him for it. And this seems to be the start of a landslide as Team EXO IND. Not only they have spaces for themselves, it seems like they're just cornered on the players of Gangan Galaxy in multiple angles. 2 players being caught in garage. Seaside completely open. The Cypher can go in. Godspray. Have to be careful. But no, he wasn't. Knight Rider will exchange that bangle. Gets a flash. Gets away to safety. This is good stuff. 4v4 right now, aggressive.
Not a 4v4, big into 3v4 instead, because they lost out on their smokes in the worst possible time. The first ankle already broken here. Mighty now looking to go in knee deep into enemy territory. Needs to pick up a weapon, get a longer one, because this kind of an engagement not really boding in their favor. Player towards the top side of heaven yet to be cleared out as the plant does come in. Savage Yoda will be key for this entire hit here. Already good for the opening kills, but it's all up to Ganola now. The Mandamint, the legend for these kind of clutches. But those bits have been debunked as the members of Gangan Galaxy couldn't really bring themselves in towards this round, especially losing out on your smoker this early on. It's gonna be a tough pill to swallow. As Team EXO, they take the first round for themselves. This Byron working wonders for them because of the weapon advantage that they did have, but then again, they didn't lose this round purely because of that weapon disadvantage. It's more the map control that they tried to go for just felt a little bit too off, where a lot of their players were too isolated and none of them were really prepared to play off of each other.
The Team EXO IND aren't amateurs, to be honest. They have been around the competitive circuit, so they know how to deal with a threat like Gangan Galaxy, and I think this was exactly the way they want to deal with this. But this time, though, a rather fast execute, which gets initial control of the sewers. Mighty as well as with the breach. The flash and the slide combination can be deadly. But Alpha Warrior oversteps. Goran punishes him for it. A little bit of trade going on over there. 4v4 as Sova sinks, stands alone on that C side. With the A side being completely guarded by one plan. Look at the way Gangan Galaxy are swarming around it. A little bit of threat. And I think Team EXO IND aren't really prepared for it.
Absolutely. Savage Yoda now will be the game changer for the team, but doesn't really have the weapon to do it. In towards the back line, Savage Yoda being an absolute boogeyman on the server, on the visor, all the smokes causing every single problem, and Savage Yoda showcasing why he's such a good anchor for the team. Traversing through 4 different defenders that were rushing in towards the site like that, using your Cypher Gate to perfection to that degree takes a lot of skill and takes a lot of confidence to do. And when you see it from the side of Savage Yoda, there's a reason why we call him one of the best anchors that we have seen in a very long time. One of those up-and-coming talents that has kind of gotten to a point where he can stand on his own 2 feet. I still remember the first time I did see Savage Yoda, I could see the markings of a really good player. And now that over the years he has truly developed it, you can tell that nothing phases this man as long as he has that Cypher in his arsenal. Other than Janola with the Sheriff, of course. This is a bit of a surprise here. You can tell that timing's just always there and present. Immediate swings coming out for their side, the Team EXO. They're gonna be able to stabilize and shut down these players one after the other. And though I did spice up Savage Yoda a little bit there, but credit where credit is due, the members of Gangan Galaxy wanted to go in for a really fast hit almost immediately. But for now, stability is the name of the game as the members of Team EXO India. They're just not really in a position where they can be that complacent just yet. They do have the utility, of course. I keep on telling you guys this. It seems as though that overall aggression could just be what they need. Flashes across. But Grom needs to try to run away. He's in a bad angle to try and take this fight. Alpha Warrior to try and carry up that space. He misses out on the opportunity. Not going to be able to find much. Stunned out in towards the corner. Alpha Warrior immediately being brought back down to earth. This has been a recurring theme over and over again where the Reina, if she just doesn't get that kill, he's not going to be able to find value to try and now push in towards the side. That are going to be the last couple of members of Team EXO. Just trying to break through these lines will not be simple. Better to opt to go in for a save because all of their players just need to run away and try and survive, because Gangan Galaxy possibly will be hunting down the last couple of players. Plus, with the economic advantage that the members of Team EXO do have, they don't really need to worry about it as much, as all of their players have ample amounts of money to go in for a buy. Even Savage Yoda in this case, yes, he just does have 600 credits, but it's completely fine and dandy. They're in towards the seaside as the Cypher. Going in for a little bit of a lurk, trying to force out the players into their positions, but giving away could have been an issue, but for now, Team EXO 3-3 on the scorecards, understanding that, hey, aggression is important, but timed aggression is even more crucial. One of the other things that can be seen from the scorecard too is that now the members of Gangan Galaxy have a lot of key ultimates coming online. Knight Rider utilizing the Rolling Thunder in that last round could be a saving grace for them at the end of the day, but one of the other points that we have to talk about is the dimensional drift and also the Hunter's Fury coming in from the Sova. It's going to be so crucial for you to have try and take these fights. And Alpha Warrior again being on the arena, he's just not been given much of an opportunity to do anything up against players like Team Exo.
Do that.
Every mistake that you make, every position that you go for will be punished drastically. For some reason, Knight Rider's on alert here. A little bit surprising at the end of the day. Savage Yoda, good for a kill, immediately gets traded back, and the players of Gangan Galaxy try to go in for too fast of an engagement. They try to funnel through the exact same flight line without their breach, and I don't really get it. What was the breach doing at mid? You're supposed to be with your team trying to help the Neon break into the back of side with your flashes, but instead, a mid lurk causing a lot of those haphazard problems, and now Team Exo, they're the ones looking for a possible lead and a victory here. Mighty, good for the kill. Dimensional Drift already being utilized to try and gain some information. Flashes coming across. Gram being an absolute nuisance to society, opening things up from the back line. It's just going to be those openers that they needed. Up in hand, trying to go in for the kill, but up against Mighty, you don't take those risks. And it's, of course, 186 with a shock dart to send poor old Mighty over into space. They still will be able to retrieve the operator. So that's going to be their own saving grace. 4-3, ladies and gentlemen. As Team Exo, they take this victory, even though it was a little bit dicey.
I love the finesse from Sinks, to be honest, because I think he was the one who initiated contact with Mighty, especially the flash did come out, but look at that, right? But while he was dealing with the Yoru, man knew already that he did not survive with a lot of HP. One shock dart should have been enough, and it was so rightly placed. I don't know why aggressive but shock dart kills just look so finesse to me. I feel like they add a little bit of flair. It's almost like doing a rainbow flick in a game of football. It's not necessary, but when you actually do it, it looks good and it's fun. But nonetheless, timeout being taken out. The defenders, Team Exo IND, for example, they know as a matter of fact that they slowly are getting momentum, and it is going to be extremely difficult for them to keep Gangan Galaxy in check, especially with the kind of performance that Mighty has been pulling up every now and then, couple it up with the breach flash. At times, it does get a little difficult for anyone, to be honest, from Team Exo IND to try and block their attacks and barge and prevent them from barging onto sites. The problem will be, of course, is to how to defend the composition of a double initiator with just a single cipher. But I feel the only option is to let Gangan Galaxy flood into the site. Once they have gotten into a site, I think a retake with all utility will certainly be possible. Savage Yoda
survives.
He survives for sure. The Hunter's Fury does not connect at all. Team Gangan Galaxy, they enter onto side without a lot of troubles. Being away, and this is exactly the tactic that I was talking about. Team Exo IND, they for themselves will find space, but one of the main agents to initiate this retake, the Sova, has been taken down, which means that their work has been cut out. Will they be able to do so? Now the Reyna has to be the live recon done with the flashes. Goran spring up through the smoke, not being able to find success. Shock darts coming through, and this means Goran will get a chance to peek, and he makes it. Gets 2 quick kills. The rest of the team follows. Gangan Galaxy not giving an inch to Team Exo IND, and this is what you like to see.
This is the reality of the situation now, isn't it? Immediately when the shots reign supreme, immediately when a team just tries to break into a side without a Sova, without any form of flashes, this is bound to happen. Olsen Ground, he tried his best here with those flashes to really come through for his squad, but there was not really much that his team could have followed up on. They didn't have the information, and all the members of Gangan Galaxy were just waiting inside of the site. They cannot allow them to take these postman positions because the utility that they have, unless they do have Dimensional Drift or a Hunter's Fury for themselves, these retakes will be close to impossible to try and break into. So for now, Gangan Galaxy looking to continue this lead for themselves as Janola finds the position of Alpha Warrior in towards the corner, and the poor old Reyna just not finding any form of value. He's not really playing for his team either. He's running all by himself, trying to take a lot of these solo engagements, but Gangan Galaxy is not a team that they're gonna give you a lot of those solo engagements that you're trying to look for. A ranked playstyle can work in other settings, but up against this team, you need a little bit more of a different approach.
Let's find that out. Sangram. This man is going to find the first one. Goran will be hard to play around the corner as well. Godfrey finds a little bit of success to hold back Gangan Galaxy, and it seems like they've done a good job. This man with a quick triple kill has actually found a lot of success, which gives Team X the IND their 5th round. This was a hard fight, to be honest. Gangan Galaxy almost at the verge of reaching onto the site, where Sangram and his off-guard positioning actually found that opener against Mighty, and that was all the difference. Godfrey was well in position and knew how to play around those boxes and found 3 quick kills. Team XOIND successfully defending another side, but it seems like the C side has been a point of weakness for them, and Gangan Galaxy will realize that sooner or later. It's only about a matter of time before we get to see Gangan Galaxy just isolating that C side. Shock Dart's been in place. Sengsu wants to delay the engagement as long as he possibly can, but a rotation from Team XOIND will strengthen that A side aggressive. 3 players versus 4 from Gangan Galaxy.
Trying to see where they're going to go with this one as Alpha Warrior now. Trying to take this fight again.
What?
Okay. I mean, precise gunplay at its finest, I do believe, as Alpha Warrior. He's going to be happy about that one. He's looking for the second kill. He's going to be able to find it. Gorong immediately answers back, though. 2 for 2 here for either side, as the starting of the round was pretty what you would have expected as Team EXO. They're thanking their lucky stars for that one, but Scar is in a really good position, being able to cut off a lot of these rotations now. One player stuck in towards the garage side. They're going to converge onto his position. Savage Yoda needs to make an immediate run for it and see if he can get back with his team. Sangram's also on low HP, so they can't really go in for this retake as easily. This is going to be a very risky play, with only one member being on full HP and that other member is on the opposite side of the map.
Gorong, once again, another round where this man shows his potential. It's not about that anymore. It's a 1v1 between the initiators, the Sova and the Preach, who go head to head yet again in a close encounter where both of them are full of hits. Knight Rider sees him and Sinks misses the shot. What just happened? The fault line will not head. 5 bullets in the chamber. He does not need more than one.
Knight Rider.
Sinks. That was it. Team XOIND break the chains open, and now the chain of pattern has been completely destroyed. Alpha Warrior in the early part of the round, but yeah, so again, these were solo encounters, and the fact that the arena was there, he could hold on to that position for much longer than anybody else, because not only can you regenerate your health from a single kill, but also you can reposition extremely quick. That allows you to guard close encounters, close angles like this quite comfortably. But nonetheless, Team XOIND doing a good job as a team so far. Look at this once again towards that A side. The front line did come through, and Gangan Galaxy wants to make quick use of this. But XOIND are already in place. There is an Omen ultimate being executed as well. Heaven's been marked. Laser beams activated. Mighty with the shotgun wants to dive in. He's going to spot the rain as quick as possible, and he finds all of them. Gangan Galaxy hit back as quickly as they possibly can. 5th round on board. Team XOIND have been shut down. And we are back to even Stevens.
This last round was just slightly questionable, to say the very least, especially with the positioning coming in. Alpha really needed to hit that shot there, but the fact that he was not able to, Savage Yoda couldn't even break into the side. This is a tough spot for you to be in. Now, you can tell Team EXO, even though they have the lead for themselves, they cannot get a little bit too comfortable for them. 75, sorry, scoreline pretty much will be a necessity for them moving forward. Scar does take a little bit of a hit here from that share of 145 straight to the head here. He's going to be able to live, but that life can be taken away by a stray shock dart just crawling their way towards you. It's Knight Rider. A little bit too close on the angle, I would say. Not really playing at a place where the B generally would like to be in. Takes a shock dart to the foot, but he takes no damage in the process. Able to dodge that one out. Let's see Megzo now. Playing for the calm before the storm pretty much, as this is their last round. But the thing is, because of the amount of weapons that they lost out on a lot of the rounds that they did win on, they don't really have the eco to do anything. Knight Rider. He's just such a mood, bro. As Team EXO now just holding on to the line for as long as they possibly can here. Paranoia already utilized towards the garage side to try and force out a little bit more of an engagement. Sinks utilizing the Hunter's Fury to try and deal some damage over from the side. They're able to stabilize. They're able to tag a little bit of damage onto their opposition. But that's all she wrote for them. As the man now, Gangan Galaxy, working their way in towards the seaside, where none of the members of Team EXO are even present.
Scar outlaw onto the foot. Omen does manage to survive. 13 seconds on the clock, and Team Gangan Galaxy find themselves inside of the site. Taking care of Savage Yoda as well as Godspree. Alpha Warrior goes down as well. Team EXO IND, they're falling, and they're falling hard. Saints with that Sheriff will find some success. Sangram with the Spectre. It's a 1v2. It's still a very difficult job, especially with the low amount of HP that he's left with. The spike planted, the clock is ticking. I'm not sure if he will be able to hold on to his life for a bit longer. Ginola finds things, and that's a 6-6 for both these sides. I love the fact that none of these teams are actually giving each other an inch of space, and I feel like this is going to be a very competitive best of 3. Very two evenly matched sides.
Absolutely. That's exactly what you want to see here coming out from both of these teams. But then again, some of these rounds are just a little bit too lackluster. Honestly, I don't want to be that hater, but again, the Reina hasn't really been giving me that, that feeling of usefulness just yet. I know that Alpha is a good player, but the Agent is just holding it back.
What are we looking at though? But on the aggressive side, the Arena can actually be a little fruitful. Not a lot of defensive utility for Gangan Galaxy either. I mean, let's find out, bro. Let's find out, right? Let's not predict too much. Let's not base too much on theories. Let's see things in practicality. Knight Rider, the fault line is there. Beautiful connection. Gorang has been so good today. This man woke up on the right side of the bed. Look at that, Sinks. Finds one. A lot of trees happening left, right, and center, and we are left with a 1v2. Sinks once again right in position. Ginola is going to come out. It's a Sova versus a Sova right now. Sinks trying to go in for a fake plant right at the corner of the site, and Ginola will not expect that. The usual planting position will be the center boxes in Ginola. He switches towards the garage side this time though. It's a recon dart which will give away the position of not just Ginola but also Sinks as well. He knows that there are the boxes, and now look at this. Ginola with that final nail in the coffin. Gangan Galaxy get themselves a lead. After a while now, it's been those 2 rounds before which Gangan Galaxy were very much, I would say, in knee-deep waters, but right after that switch up where they changed the pace of attack, where they are attacking much more fiercely, I think the result of the games, the result of the rounds has been much more different. It's been very different, to be honest.
Especially when you look at these heavy rushes that they're trying to execute as well. Sometimes does work, in the other moments it does not. They need to be careful in what they do here. Alpha Warrior immediately being able to shut out Knight Rider, who was a little bit too aggressive on his own accord towards that mid-side. Risky plays being done here already as Mighty giving away his position with that Outlaw. They immediately need to rotate out of it. Very risky fight to take if they're not careful to try and take such an engagement They don't have the flash coming in from the Euro just yet. I already do believe that the Euro utilized one of the flashes, and I don't believe that he bought a second one. So let's see exactly where the members of Team EXO go with this. They do have the kill, but they don't really have a lot of the space here. And Gangan Galaxy, it's all about going in for the proper timings here, not allowing them to lurk up to any of these angles for free. You need to try to take the duel, but take it smart on an off angle, because for now, Team EXO, they're just fishing out kills. They need one more to really open up this map.
Savage Yoda towards Garage does get caught up with that cyber tripwire. Scar is in position already, and the Guardian Angel strikes, gets 2 kills for himself, and then Gorong is in position, but the Sheriff from Alpha Warrior is going to delete this man from the server. 2 against 3 from Team EXO IND as a smoke will not protect Savage Yoda. As soon as it dissipates, Mighty strikes an Alpha Warrior with a third of his own. Talk about not really being that useful agent. This time might just have turned things around. And always remember, this was potentially on the back of a loss in the pistol round as well. So Team EXO IND, they do manage to win this round. It's not just that, but it's also the round next to it as well. Insane
Absolutely.
stuff. Does want to go in for the DQs. Alpha Warrior will try and go in for the kill, but instead it's actually Godspree who gets Mighty right in the nick of time. 7-7 Team EXO IND. It's game of cat and mouse at this point, aggressive. It seems like you're really not sure who's the one who's chasing, who's the one following up, or rather playing catch up. It's 2 very evenly matched sides who's exchanging jabs and crosses at each other at their own pace, it seems like.
This is where it all begins, or this is where it all could end, ladies and gentlemen, because the members of Team EXO, they are just an absolute force of nature in a lot of these rounds. Mighty up close and personal to try and go in for this hit here. The Bucky will be able to find a good chunk of value. We just allow it to get into those close proximity fights. They do have pure map control over onto every single Gundam position here. Mighty in on the angle. They're just going to be waiting for the hit here. He can't really run away anymore. His position is fully revealed out. Does dodge the shock dart at the end of the day, but he does still take the damage regardless. Janola trying to give as much backup as he possibly can, but Garong on the opposite side of the map, he doesn't really have the weapon to try and take this duel. He's gonna need to go in for the double tap, gets the info, immediately dips out, needs to try and survive on the seaside. Instantaneous rotation coming in from the entire team as Gangan Galaxy, they're scurrying their way in towards the seaside to make sure that they can stack it.
Savage Yoda gets scarred, things in position as well. Alpha Warrior gets Gorong. Team EXO IND, they hit back with full force. And it seems like they will be able to clean this up without really a lot of trouble. And this is exactly what we talked about, right? The round next to a pistol loss, if you win that, you automatically ensure yourself a lot of economy and most likely the round following up as well, which gives you a lead. Team EXO IND picked up the pace right when they actually needed it. And it seems like the 2 remaining survivors, Mighty and Visova, they wouldn't really be able to do much. It is better off to save, but I don't think they would want to save these weapons, do they? I mean, it's a Bucky on Mighty. Now that's a weird way to die, to be honest. Not really taking a fight, but just dying to the spike so that you just get the credits. For sure, go ahead, but 8-7, aggressive. I want to know your thoughts.
I mean, a lot of these rounds really are coming down to the members of Gangan Galaxy not really playing for the trades, but instead opting a little bit more to a much more back burner approach where they're allowing these double duelist compositions to run in. You will see that Alpha is generally not going to be that first line of entry. It's generally Sangram, and Alpha is playing much more towards the back-ended role where he's utilizing that aim. I keep on telling you this, right? That Alpha as a player, he's absolutely incredible. But that's kind of the thing. he always needs to be that second one to go in. So Grom needs to be the one to bring in the space. And the fact that they're able to play that tug and pull nature so well is giving them such a significant advantage in a lot of these rounds. Mighty, though, in towards the corner. They're going to be going in for a bit more of a setup here. Sinks is going to be the first one to go in for that kill. Scar takes a backseat as Gangan Galaxy now look to be in a rough patch to try and get this round for themselves. For the initial engagements here already, Team EXO, they know that the Cypher is no longer going to be a point of contention, so the shock darts can be utilized later on in the round if they want to do so. Timing is key to try and take this hit onto that seaside, because now that Garong has gotten the spot, immediately all the members of Team EXO, they're going to be rushing through.
BO3 does get mighty with their Team EXO IND. It seems like they've once again gotten a crew for themselves. 4 versus 2 this time around. Quick kills on towards that CN Garage territory, which opens things up. Team EXO IND seems to be doing a very good job on the attacking side of things, not really committing a lot of mistakes. Meanwhile, on the other side, Gangan Galaxy, they're struggling to hold things back. And once again, I believe they're going in for a save aggressive.
Yeah, this would have been risky if they try to go in for a play here, especially when their economy is looking this bad. Having these 2 weapons to cycle through the entire team will be a necessity to get a possible round victory in the following one, to try and prevent your opponents from getting the 10th onto the board. Sings in a little bit of a bad spot. He's not going to be expecting it. Jinlol instead immediately takes him back down. But for now, Team EXO, at the bare minimum, they do take a round for themselves, again, to take this 2-round lead. But this 2-round lead alone is just not going to be that simple for them. They need to snowball this into even more here down the line. And all really will start with how Gangan Galaxy now utilize a lot of those ultimates that are coming online for them. Because a lot of those ults have yet to really come forth and get their fullest fruition. And which cup is that? Ah, yes. Salty getting in touch with his inner girly side. Gotta love it.
It's on a girly side, man. I feel like a man really embraces his masculinity when he embraces everything.
The Hello Kitty. Yeah, the Hello Kitty.
I'm a man who embraces Hello Kitty. What's wrong with that? I'm a man who wears pink. I'm a man.
Don't worry, I'll wear a pink hoodie tomorrow so that we get matched.
Alright, done.
Done. Okay, but back to the point that I was trying to make, ladies and gentlemen. The main thing that the members of Gangan Galaxy need to do is to use those ultimates a little bit better. They're allowing all the members of Team EXO to just play on their own turn. You can tell that the Reyna is no longer taking entry anymore on that attack side. She's not really gonna be that first line of entry to go in for the team. She's playing a much more of a supportive role with the leaders as much as she possibly can. And Alpha, as a player, I keep on telling you this, he's generally gonna be the aimer for the team. He's really good when it comes down to taking kills on that secondary entry. Now, how does he get those secondary entries? He allows his team to work the map a little bit, get to those close quarter spaces, and then take those advantages away from Gangan Galaxy as often as they possibly can. It's the small stuff like this that will keep on adding up in a round and allow Team EXO to go in for a very comfortable side take. This has been what's plaguing the members of Gangan Galaxy. They need to stop them from getting into these corridors really quickly. Flash, yes, it does come out, but where does this flash lead them? Absolutely nowhere, because immediately Team EXO, they baited out a little bit of utility, and now there is absolutely no information. Where is the members of Team EXO now? They could be in mid, they could be outside of A. They have no information to really play for, and this is going to be where this team will really struggle, with the side hit now coming in towards the opposite side. Scar does not find any of these kills, loses his life in the process, and the B side right for the picking. It's fully done for the entry, and Knight Rider, yes, he does get the kill, but his team still needs to make its way in towards the side.
Shots being fired, Knight Rider finds Godfrey, which means Gangan Galaxy, they return this into a 3v3, make this a 2v3 because Knight Rider goes on to a triple. Recon that does come through but does not reveal it. The smoke's still hiding the presence, and it seems like they will not get the diffuser as Gangan Galaxy. It was a closely fought round, but Team EXO IND could not get away with it.
ultimates were not even needed here as Team EXO just spread themselves out a little bit too thin there. Especially in the way that they took that engagement. I expected the Reyna to be a little bit more aggressive on the sideline that his teammates were already fighting in, but this really seemed to be the case. They got the trades though at the end of the day. That was the most important part, as you have to give credit where credit is due towards the Gangan Galaxy, that they did not panic under pressure. And with the spam not really going in either, it's gonna be a tough spot, but not really the most impossible here, as Ginola now corner lines already for these first initial openers. The kills do come through on a very aggressive tripwire, getting them all of the value. Gorong does take a back seat, one more towards the top side. Godspree's position's already revealed, and now he's being hunted down by Knight Rider. Ginola in towards the corner, doesn't really find a kill, but still it's going to be Alpha Warrior being the Alpha, the Omega, and all of it to try and get this victory for his team. He still does have the spike in his arsenal, so if he wants to make a rotation in towards the B side, he can. But look at Mighty. He's playing this one smart. The game sense going wild for this one player. He makes a lot of noise here that he's opting to go in for that rotation, but I don't think that Alpha hurt him, because Mighty, he played for the sound cues well. And because of the positioning that Team EXO are really going in for, it's already dependent on whether or not Alpha he's going to take that risk and plant on this A side.
Mighty versus Alpha Warrior. The spike has been planted though. Man floating around the map quite comfortably, and Alpha Warrior knows exactly where he's going to step
he
from.
beat the timing.
He did beat the timing, but can he beat the HP is my question, because 30 HP on this man. Meanwhile, Mighty being loaded up with an ultimate and a fluid movement as well as speed. A little bit of tapping on that spike to go in for the DPU. Spots in the gun barrel. Alpha Warrior knows exactly where he's going to be at. And now the shot strikes. 4 kills for Alpha Warrior in this round to shut down the critics yet again. Team EXO IND, 10th round on board. It seems like both the teams are taking equal steps towards victory, but the Team EXO IND is just a step ahead right since the start.
Absolutely. This clutch is going to do wonders for the confidence of Alpha Warrior. He started off on the wrong foot, but as soon as this attack side rolled around, he's able to really come alive here once again, making sure that his team are always going to be the ones to try and win it for their side. Sangram now in for the engagement, spots out Mighty here already, tries to go in for the kill, but Mighty takes a lot of damage in the process, down to only 34 HP. Doesn't really have the best of weapons to try and take this fight either. He just tried to play for information, and that one bit of information that he was able to gain immediately being brought on back down. Knight Rider back on his signature operator, but the Ancient, yeah, I think he's having some trouble trying to utilize this breach in the way that it's meant to be played. It's Gangan Galaxy now. Slight bits of issues here and there, but for Team EXO, these small problems is what's really going to give them such an opening, as Knight Rider already gets a big kill here. Savage Yoda taking a back seat to make these late rounds even more dangerous. With the possibility of a lurk up coming in, Knight Rider does get taken out here. Positions revealed as Godspree immediately going in for the hit. Mighty getting shut down, so Grom's gonna be able to turn around and get another one. The 180, sorry, was absolutely gorgeous coming out from them. As Team EXO, they will take this round for themselves, shutting down an op and getting Hunter's Fury out of the enemy as well. Gangan Galaxy, they put all of their eggs into one basket, and now they're going to suffer for it.
Nice drop shot over there, but its back kill was actually taken away by the Vandal itself. Sangram could not survive. 3v2, Team EXO IND. They are in a very good position, to be honest. The only thing which can protect Gangan Galaxy might be the Cypher cages, but it seems like Scar is pushing through Alpha Warrior. One more kill for this man, and Sings the baddie. The baddie on the Hunter's Fury gets another quick kill as Team EXO IND. 11th round on board, and it seems like they are walking away to victory. I don't know your thoughts. Do you think Gangan Galaxy can potentially mount a comeback, or do you think this might be it?
It's gonna be difficult, but it's already dependent on how Knight Rider is really gonna be playing with Mighty here. He needs to set up Mighty a little bit more. I can see in a lot of these rounds where it's just coming down to, hey, there's not enough breach utility being utilized to try and set up this neon for victory. There's not enough breach utility that is being used to try and force a lot of these earlier engagements. They're not really playing Haven the way it's meant to be played. You're supposed to play aggressive. You're supposed to try and take these early fights because the neon's not going to be able to do what she's supposed to do if you're not playing aggressive. You're not forcing out utility from your opponents. The limited level of utility, mind you, because of the composition that they are running. If this hero doesn't have a gate press, if this hero doesn't have one of those extra flashes, it could do so much for your team, but a little bit of an accidental flash could be the thing that brings them back down. Mighty already getting caught out by the Rolling Thunder, now can't even go in for a push anymore. All the members of Team EXO are still alive and kicking, and they can run away towards the opposite side of the map. They still have 45 seconds left on the clock to do whatever the hell they want.
Gorong, corner of the seaside,
30 seconds left.
knows kind that there are a lot of these players who will be right outside waiting for their entry. Does have some support as the recon that does come through but does not spot anyone. Mighty will be looking for an opportunity to skid past their defenses and potentially breaching past their lines. As Gorong in position, it's Mighty and Ginola who dive into fight and get those 2 quick kills with the Guardian. That's
Oh
three
my
and
God,
finishes
bro.
off 3-1 Gangan Galaxy. 11-9. And this team, they certainly are dancing around the pitch. Loved the way Gorong was kept alive by Ginola and Mighty, who just dove into a fight without a lot of information. But Gorong was there to finish things off in style. What a teamwork.
This is just the beauty of the situation. This is where the team is really going to shine here. As the members of Gangan Galaxy now finally found their olive branch to give them a lot of the edge forward in these rounds, but one round alone is not going to be the thing that decides you your victory. Buy is now coming in for the members of Team EXO. This is where the team will really thrive. Once again, Knight Rider is lonesome in towards the B side. It's Mighty taking a lot more of an aggressive angle. This is how Haven is meant to be played. Now they can play a lot more for the sound cues. Stop them from going in for anything aggressive. Got bits of spam being given away by Garong there. Possibly could have gotten a kill if any of their members tried to go in for the aggressive play, but for now, Team EXO, they want to fish out at least one kill. They know that this is going to be risky, otherwise 2 bodies already drop across the floor, one on the C side and one towards B. Sorry, no, both of the players on A side get immediately brought back down, and that's A completely opened up. So Gram in towards the angle, flashes himself by accident here. Scar dodges out the engagement, but he's still not going to be able to find that kill. Grong over towards mid, brings down another player, and this looks to be an 11-10 scoreline, depending on how Sinks and Alpha Warrior play this.
He makes IND. They get themselves a lead and instantly fall back. Instantly fall down. 10 seconds on the clock before they go in for the plant, and Scar is in position. He can potentially stop the plant from happening, but did not really do so, waiting for the opportunity to strike, but he's looking at the wrong angles. Needs to wait for a little bit of support, which does give him a little bit of information. Alpha Warrior gets taken down and sinks with that recon dart. Well, stop! Not really. I thought he's gonna buy himself some time with a recon dart, but that did not really happen. As soon as he got himself caught into that tripwire, it was very evident that a spam is gonna come in and plethora of bullets is gonna pass through him as well. 11-10, Gangan Galaxy Team EXO IND. They're running this match too late in the game, and it seems like we're still yet to decide a winner.
And this is going to be a little bit of an issue for them. It's Gangan Galaxy now pretty much taking these rounds by storm. And finally figuring out a system, breaking down the members of Team EXO pretty early on these rounds. It's really working wonders for them. And I like the overall aggression that they were going in for. The fact that Gangan Galaxy opted for a much more of a heavier take there is pretty much a necessity for them, because these type of engagements generally happen in one sense, because Gangan Galaxy, yeah, they pushed out towards the A side, but they also corralled all of the members of Team EXO into their own little crossing. And one of the other problems in Team EXO is having, as of right now, losing out on a lot of these rounds is they're not really communicating with one another and how they want these entries to happen, especially with the Euro. Euro again should be a character that is being utilized at that as that pseudo secondary initiator, so that your Reina flashes can have a little bit more value. So you flash out first, and the Reina throws out the Leer, and it's very difficult to break the Leer because you're also gonna get flashed out by a Euro at the same time. So it's that small stuff that can really bring your team into a better light, but seemingly none of that's been happening just yet. Both ultimates now being utilized here. They're trying to get a lot of space, but Sangram just, for no apparent reason, popped out of the dimensional drift, and he had no one present to even try and help him there. Wait, what just happened, Team EXO?
We lost 2 players. We lost 2 players in very quick succession. One towards sewers, one in the main territory. Seems like another one is going to actually fall. Now they've lost 4 players already due to a push coming in from Scar. Gangan Galaxy from 3 rounds back to pull up their socks to tie things up. 11-11 is the scoreline, ladies and gentlemen. And now this very much be possibly overtime at this point.
Absolutely. They're not really in the best of spots here. Just for now. Gonna need to see where they're gonna go with this one as Team EXO. Looking for even more opportunities to really prove themselves here, especially after these last couple of rounds. Their teamplay and synergy seemingly fallen apart piece by piece as Mighty is breaking their self-esteem as well in the process. Poor old Savage Yoda has been barely given a chance to shoot his weapon in a lot of these rounds. Especially after the change of the defensive side, they're not really doing much. And Knight Rider, he doesn't even care. The guy's just like, yeah, look at me, that's absolutely fine because my teammates are all around me. As soon as you try to break an entry, I'm going to immediately bring you back down to earth. Scar's going to be good for the immediate trade-off. Garong takes a backseat for his team, but that's completely fine because all of the other members, they have the information that they could have wanted. Sinks on an angle, he tries to break the tripwire, gets taken out in the process. Alpha Warrior now low on HP, doesn't really have much to do, cannot survive. And on an 11-2 scoreline, ladies and gentlemen, it is now going to start. Economy now not looking good whatsoever for the members of Team EXO, if my math is mathing here. For Gangan Galaxy, they have every advantage in the book.
No, math is for sure mathing. Very rare does that happen aggressive, but we go ahead with it. It seems like one more round and Gangan Galaxy should be able to get themselves the lead in this best of 3. And what a turnaround it has been, like 4 rounds back to back for Team Gangan Galaxy. You don't usually get to see comebacks like this, but all of a sudden it seems like Team EXO IND have completely forgotten their attacking stance. Hunter's Fury in towards Garage and everyone is getting body blocked. Meanwhile, Scar and Gorong, 2 quick kills, Knight Rider with a third. Godspeed the only one who could return 1 back. The spike is down, it's just one man, Godspeed, who gets electrocuted. Gangan Galaxy with the victory, 1-0 on a best of 3 series, potentially ready for a clean sweep. Now, with the way Team EXO IND have been performing, I am very excited to find out if on the other maps, can there be a retake? Can there be like an equalizer to this? Or are we going to see a clean sweep? A very interesting question, but this was a very hardly fought contest. I feel like both the teams did not give each other any inch of space. Apart from that last stretch where Gangan Galaxy won themselves like, what, 4, 5, 6 rounds in a row? Apart from that, I think both the teams, it was very hard to predict who was going to win and take away this competition.
Absolutely. There's going to be a lot of different factors that you need to consider. And map number two is not going to be as simple as you would have expected. There's a lot of different variables that you need to worry about here in the game of Valorant, ladies and gentlemen. And especially in the BO3, those variables will just keep on building. And for now, let's just give them the credit that they deserve, because these last couple of rounds it has been rough for the members of Gangan Galaxy, but as soon as things started to click, they found that proper timing and their aim started to come through. And of course, there was a bunch of different mistakes being done as well by the opposition as well in a lot of these fights. You can tell that Gangan Galaxy just found those cracks in the armor that Team Exo had, especially when it came down to taking a lot of those engagements. They were trying to rush those fights, and those rush heavy fights just didn't really work out well for them whatsoever. But what is going to be working for you guys back at home, ladies and gentlemen, will of course be the amazing deals down below in the description. Make sure to check out Amazon, because in celebration of the Intel Gamer Days, they are offering up to 40% off on select Intel Core powered laptops till the 31st of August. Just one more day, ladies and gentlemen, and all of that is going to be gone. In addition to those 40% off deals, you can get an additional instant bank discount of up to 8,000 INR on select products. So make sure to check out all the links down below in the description. And if you're looking for a recommendation coming in from us as the casters, I would recommend getting the Asus TUF Gaming F15, which is meant for serious hardcore gamers just like the players on the server. It comes with an Intel Core i7 13th Gen processor with 10 cores and of course an RTX 4050 to give you those frames that you need for that 144 Hz display that the laptop comes with. So you don't need to worry about that second monitor if you want to get one for yourself, just to increase productivity. More deals can be found on there for that very reason. But I digress. Map number two will be an interesting showing, because if map number one alone was this close, now that Team Exo have gotten a proper feel for what Gangan Galaxy are going to try to do, game number two will be just as interesting.
It depends on which map the game number 2 is going to be played. Credits where credit is due. I feel like Alpha Warrior was pretty good. I'm not sure if it was the arena. I'm not sure if it was just the player itself. I think him getting those triple and quadra kills in those alternate rounds were actually helping Team Exo IND get them through in their attacking side. On the defensive side, yes, for sure, the arena was not as effective, but they'll have to find a solution to this problem for sure. Apart from that, I think on the other side, we got to see some amazing performances, especially I can't deny Gorang being the absolute best player on the pitch today. Being a controller is not easy. I think being an Omen where you constantly have to smoke around, getting kills and setting yourself up for success it feels like second nature. It does not feel like your primary job. But Gorang was still there in position. Yes, for sure, there were players who were always there to protect this lad, to prevent the controller from dying so that they have control of spaces till the end of the round. But Gorang, even in clutch situations, this man never faded. I think his aim is probably better than the other days. So he's feeding himself, and I think that is going to be one of the biggest boons for Gangan Galaxy. Let's just find out, how long can this run of form stretch, and how, or rather where does it take us?
Absolutely. You have to give him credit for all of the things that he has done. And honestly speaking, Gorang as a player has improved drastically as well. He's just as flashy as he was all those years ago. And the guy's aim just keeps on improving to that degree, especially when it came down to that one clutch, being on that seaside all by himself and taking out 3 players with a Guardian as they were pushing in through a smoke like that. Now that is something not a lot of players can do, but Gorang, for him, it's just another day in the office. It's stuff like this that gives a team that significant of an edge. It's games like this that just brings them back onto the foothold that they really needed to be in. And for now, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, they're going to be riding that high. They're going to be riding onto that momentum. But what I really do want to see change from this squad has to be the way that they approach their initiators, because I have seen that the chamber just didn't really have a lot of not the chamber. I think with the next map being Lotus, I was thinking of the chamber, mind you, because Knight Rider loves to play that. They need to go in for much more of those comfortable agents, because from what we saw, the Breach wasn't really the best of settings for Knight Rider. But we're just gonna have to wait and see where it's gonna go with this one. The game of Lotus will be set up for you soon, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna be heading on down over into a very short little break. Again, make sure to check out all the links down below in the description, also the pinned comment if you want any more information. But we're gonna be back with you with a lot more Valorant action in just a little bit. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the Intel Gamer Days Community Cup for Valorant, as the quarterfinal stage has already started and things are heating up for game number 1, or series number 1, I would say, as match number 2 is going to be just as interesting because that's going to be at 3 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. So make sure to start your time for that one. But good God, was the setup coming in from game number 1 an absolute banger? Ah, yes, my boy Salty
I
has not
mean,
forgotten about his mic. A very
yeah, bro.
normal.
A very normal day on an online class, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, man, gone are the days of production, but never mind, never mind. I still remember those days where, where I used to spectate myself, manage production, also unmute and mute myself. But with things improving, you kind of change habits. But nonetheless, we move on. The scorecard in front of us, 11 to 13. Team EXO IND played really well, especially Sangram. I feel like 21 frags. Does not justify the scoreline, to be honest. But on the other side, look at this. Mighty with 23 franks, Gorang with 17, Scar with 21 as well. Look at that KDA for Scar. 21 kills, 14 deaths. And I feel like this is the effectiveness which I was talking about. Not from the other side is what you get to see. Majority of them could not maintain that positive KD ratio, especially Alpha Warrior. 14 kills for sure. Not bad, but then those 19 deaths, the amount of sacrifice that Alpha Warrior has had to give, or rather had to commit because of not having information, was too much. But now look at this, Gangan Galaxy, Mighty, the man. He does not look as mighty, rather looks a little innocent, but when he steps onto the battleground, especially the maps of Valorant, this man does break quite a few ankles, just like Aggressive likes to say.
Yeah, Neon is the ankle breaker just because of the way that she utilizes that slide. But I do believe that the slides are going to be coming back for the map of Lotus as well. A lot of the teams have now strayed away from the good old race combination, but instead are opting for that Neon to just break a lot of those defensive lines a lot more quicker and so many more of these engagements. But I digress. It all really does come down to whether or not both of these teams are going to be going in for a very similar composition, or will we be seeing another Reina possibly coming through from Alpha Warrior, because the map of Lotus is very dynamic and it really does bode well for teams that have a lot more set plans and strategies for these particular games. And it seems just immediately Alpha Warrior, he's not going to be changing his foothold. The Reina is his to play, and doesn't matter what map that they go to, comfort is going to be the biggest point for him.
For sure, comfort is going to be the biggest plus point, but look at this. Team EXO IND, they did make a couple of switch ups. Sangram goes in on that Neon, so this is going to be a Neon versus Neon duel. Alpha Warrior still on that arena. I like this man. He's very much like me, to be honest, aggressive. He knows one thing and he knows that well. Savage Yoda switching on to the KJ this time around, and Cosplay being on the Omen. But on the other side, we've got Knight Rider, who's selected to be the breach for all of us. Can really be very effective on the map of Lotus. Ginola on the fade. And I think as a sentinel, we're going to see the Vice instead of a normal KJ or a Cypher. Now, this is going to be an interesting composition. You do have flashes, you do have a lot of breakable utility as well. In fact, you have too many flashes. You've got the Vice, you've got the Breach, you've got the Fade as well for information. I like the composition coming in from Gangan Galaxy. If this does work out, I feel like they will be able to not just get themselves an advantage, but also might be just taking away the best of 3 with a 2-0 victory.
Absolutely. We're going to need to see where they go with this one, because the members of Team EXO, once again, they don't really have a lot of utility being brought on towards this particular map. Yes, of course, the Fade is a very good and strong solo initiator that you can play for on this particular map, but the speed of these entries that Mighty generally brings onto the table, especially with that Neon just running amok through the entire server, creating chaos in a lot of these fights. If Sangram is able to answer that toe-to-toe with his own form of aggression, it's gonna work, but it's all dependent on that one player. It's all dependent on whether or not Knight Rider finds value on his own accord. Think about it. If Knight Rider is that player on your team that is able to perform well enough when it comes down to the mechanical skill, and also when it comes down to setting up his teammates for victory, then of course it's gonna be the members of Gangan Galaxy who take this victory. the utility that they have is incredible. Gangan Galaxy, they have many different options that they can play for, but when you have so many options, that's where you have the tendency of making a lot more of those mistakes.
Talking about mistakes, well, ladies and gentlemen, we get to see two Neons go head to head with their stuns. No real result happening on this side of the map. Gangan Galaxy will need to fall back. Look at that. The gate does open, but no collisions being found. No confrontation as of yet. Contact is yet to be established as Gangan Galaxy. They do decide to hesitate a little bit, maybe step back. Now the spike does travel towards the A side. Or are they looking for an option towards B?
Trying to look for a kill here. No real B main control, so they can't really go in for a hit like this without anyone there. A side will pretty much be theirs, as Savage Yoda was opting to play for a little bit more of a retake here in this position. The Omen on the opposite side, giving away info in the corner lines. Got spree. Able to shut down Knight Rider in the process. The right click doesn't really take him out instantly, but he does deal the damage. Losing out on Godspree there this early on could have been the make it or break it for them, because having that utilized, he does take a backseat into this round. Gorong pulls in for the more, but still the shots do connect. Gorong still alive and kicking for this 69 HP to his day. The magic number working out well, but both players with 1 HP. It's going to be Godspree instead, who shuts down his twin brother almost instantly as Team Exo, they take this round for themselves. And Gangan Galaxy kind of surprised of what happened in this particular engagement, because their team setup was good. The post plan was not bad, but the thing is, they didn't really trade off of one another in a lot of these fights.
Yeah, I think their post-line positioning was a little too weak. I mean, look at that. Majority of the fights could be isolated, and this is one of the reasons why I felt that Team X IND just had the edge. Talk about being in proper positions, talk about a proper retake. It seems like the defensive formations were pretty good, which also deterred from Gangan Galaxy taking away that C-side for themselves. So once again, a quick start to this competition, a quick start to this round where Sangram is absolutely caught, and both the duelists from Team Exo have actually been taken offline. First round being done, but Gangan Galaxy come back with a strong response as well. Now with 2 quick kills found on the A side, they want to step in, but it seems like a lot of time has been given out. Majority of that player in that tree region as well. Ginola will go in to plant the spike, and this time I hope that they play the trades on a positive note. There are still 3 Spectres which they need to deal with. A little bit of recon happening. Oh, there's Sinks. Only managed to find one, as the trade does come through. Spectres from Scar will be left neutralized.
This is so risky.
Rendered
Why are
useless
you
in this one.
What is happening?
Flashes. Savage Yoda finds a kill. An absolute moment of chaos as Gorong is the last man still standing with Team Exo IND. They really don't care. They get a second round for themselves. Gangan Galaxy, I don't know how they mess things up in spite of getting those 2 early kills in a 3v5. A 2-man disadvantage also not working for Gangan Galaxy.
Kill me now, send me to Jesus, why don't you? This round was just a little bit too much of a heartburn for me here as Team Exo. They pretty much got this round out of absolutely nothing, as Gangan Galaxy just got a little bit too overzealous in their positions. Just because you have the man advantage doesn't mean you toss it out that quickly. Flashes are good here as Mighty trying to get knee deep on the angle. Does have full clearance now over towards the main side. Lobby is now completely theirs, but lobby control alone is not going to be the thing that gives you all of that significant edge here. Push out over across the sidelines is Mighty. Across the corner, does have the relay bolt to just give her the little bit more space that Neon needs. Then again, Sinks, we've seen him even through mid-slide really get those kills over onto Mighty when it matters the most. It's going to be a dangerous fight for him, but it seems as though poor guy's not going to be able to fit through the cracks here. As another rotation seemingly could be on the cards for Gangan Galaxy, as they're making their way.
Two quick fights happening on towards the B side, as a matter of fact. 4v3 on this one now. Team X and IND certainly have the advantage with things coming in from the backlines. Gorang knew exactly. And I think these are trivial mistakes which is definitely happening from their side. Scar manages to find one, instantly gets straight down. Now Gorang is left with the 1v2 where this man, I feel, not in the best of positions. Does have the HP to work with though, but Savage here that finds another one. Team X and IND on a roll this time around. Third round for themselves. Automatically might get the fourth as well.
Tell that Garang just didn't want to deal with the turret in that engagement. A little bit tough here as Gangan Galaxy now showing a lot of cracks in their overall armor. They're missing out on a lot of those key opportunities. For the team, not really in for the proper votes. And once again, it seems as though Gangan Galaxy, they take a little bit of time to really get themselves back in towards the game here. To figure out their strategies, to figure out each other's playstyle, and then adapt on the fly to what their opponents are trying to do. There's no set plays, there's no game plan to be had from this team. It's all about understanding what your opponents can do and what they're capable of. Finding the different avenues that you can play for. Is now A side, seemingly the sideline that they want to break into here for this first initial fight. As the Vice will be the only one holding down from the back. So once he wins the race for them, they do get the plant and a 5v5 retake to play for, so it can work, but it's going to be a very difficult one to take.
Talking about difficulty levels, I think this is going to be a difficult fight for Mighty. He knew it. Sangram always does that, right? Always goes in for the slide. Mighty was conditioned to it as well. The shotgun did strike, but he gets instantly traded off. Godspray. Savage Yoga, both of them holding positions. But Kinola finds that score on that Sheriff so quick. This time around, peeking around the corner as well. Does he find Godspray? Will be my question. The smoker really good. Forcing Scar to commit for this fight, but he still goes in. Gets Godspray. First round for Gangan Galaxy. That too coming in from a Sheriff. Not really a lot of buys, not really a thrifty either, but Gangan Galaxy somehow work together to make this successful for them. It all started with that shotgun from Mighty. It was good.
Mighty on that shotgun is an absolute force of nature. This round also doesn't really mean that Team EXO are gonna be in that much of a knee-deep water. Never mind, I take it all back. Wait a second, their economy is down in tatters. Because Gangan Galaxy did really shut them down on a lot of their players early on in this game, so they had to go in for buys constantly throughout the rounds that they were able to win. So for now, even though you could tell that the members of Team EXO had a very significant lead, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because Gangan Galaxy kept on shutting down their economy, forcing them to build upon it even more down the line. It's one equal round, not really the end of the world for them, but losing a round like this is gonna hurt you just a tad bit here. Alpha Warrior now finally coming alive, good for the one kill, doesn't really clear out his corner. In towards the sidelines, it's gonna be some Grom who shuts down Knight Rider. Wait a minute, maybe things are turning around. Scar now needs to be the one to step onto the table. Missed out on a couple of key shots, but Godspray doesn't land his either. 3-2 as Team EXO. A little bit shaky, but they've done the economic damage that they needed to. It's Gangan Galaxy now. They get the second on the board for themselves, but Team EXO, look at the ultimates now that they now have online. They have the tools that they need to fight Gangan Galaxy on their own terms.
I mean, they anyway had the tool to fight them on their own terms. I think it's not even about the skill set difference. It's about small strokes like this, right, from Gangan Galaxy, which will result in their downfall. But it seems Team EXO IND aren't being able to capitalize it as much. This time, though, quickly gathering the space that they have. A side has been completely blocked. 4 ultimates on either side. It seems like Reina with the Empress has already been locked in. So she wants to take those fights as quickly as possible, but Gangan Galaxy will deter that, will prevent that from happening. Ginola in position, holding on to that B side aggression. 2 players outside the C side. The formation looks to be pretty simple. Find a way to get a pick on either from B or C, and you will be able to neutralize the threat. But I like the composure from Team EXO IND as well. They're not pushing it in spite of so much utility being there. Smokes and stun grenades will once again deter the entry as much as they possibly can. But Seaside will have to be given up. Godspree falls back. Savage Yoda as well as the Fate join the pot as the lockdown does come in. Reach with the flash. Sangram, a rather mighty, wants to take advantage of it. Gorang gets Savage Yoda, wanted to go in for the ultimate but could not actually do that. And now the players have been marked. Nola does get Alpha Warrior and now it's a 2v3. Sangram on his Neon. This time his dash is actually successful. The only player who is still standing, but now the front line is improved.
No, this is bad.
Still finds Scar. Still finds a way to stop Knight Rider as well. He does have the Rolling Thunder. Can go in for it, but he instead does the job with a classic. Has the Vandals and the Phantoms to work with. It does not really need it. The pistol is good enough, but what an effort from Sangram over there. I think had he come in a nick moment earlier, possibly would have gotten the entire round for his team. But look at this, Goran trying to go in for that ultimate. Might just have been a cause of demise for him. Could have actually gotten an extra kill over there had he gotten the KJ earlier. But nonetheless, look at this from Sangram. Beautiful technicality from this lad. He knew he had to fight Knight Rider, and that is the reason why he had left the spike back. But Knight Rider was just a step ahead, switches onto the pistol. One shot, one odd connection will be good enough, and Gorang through that gap in the smoke finds Sinks in the early stages of the game, which means no reconnaissance. For this time, Team EXO IND will have to do away without their fate.
Working it well here already. Godspree is now gonna need to be the one who steps onto the table immediately, dashes back up here. Does get spotted out in the process, but immediately gets brought back down too. So members of Gangan Galaxy now snowballing the lead out of absolute control here. Sangram needs to be the first one to step onto the table, but up against Janola, it's not going to be an easy fight to take. Scar takes another one in towards the back, and finally the team is now coming online. Alpha Warrior, the lone warrior on the server here. He needs to try and work his way in. The engagement not to his liking. Inside of the smoke, Mighty could just be the one whose life gets defaulted over from the sidelines. A possible knife could be coming through. They're trying to go in for it, but Mighty is just not going to be risking it. A very, very important round for them to win, because for the members of Team EXO, they've lost out on 4 rounds consecutively, yes, but that's kind of the thing. The fact that they have lost out on so many of these rounds, they don't really have the best of buys going into it. And I do believe in the following round, they are going to be able to go in for a full buy, but their ego is now in tatters still.
The economy, look at that. I mean, they're playing on max loss bonus at this point. One ultimate to be used for Team EXO IND, especially on the Omen. But I don't think that's going to be as useful, to be honest. Mighty finding himself some sort of space to work with, but it's Team EXO IND. They've already countered that. Rolling Thunder comes through. Knight Rider wants his team to enter on the back of it, but it's not an A hit. In fact, they go towards the B side. Mighty this time around does come in with the electrically charged fingers. Switches onto the shorty as well. Tries to clear on the smoke. A lot of chaos going on to this early round. This time around a 4v4. But after a B attempt, it seems like Team Gangan Galaxy might actually be looking forward towards a C hit. Good stop by Knight Rider, but instantly gets traded out. Mighty in position. Mighty versus Sangram will be one of the craziest duels that we get to see in this one. But Alpha Warrior is still there. Still alive. Full HP on this man. Vandals equipped as well. Knows he needs to clear out multiple angles, but will be unsuccessful in doing so. Gnola finds his frag. Godspree gets Mighty as well. It's trade for trade happening, and only Gnola survives for Gangan Galaxy. Team EXO IND might just put an end to their losing streak. 4th round on board for them. 4 rounds back to back, it does not matter. They get an opportunity and they strike. They come back with Roaring Thunder. 4-4 the scoreline aggressive, and it seems like both these two teams, just like I said, they're evenly matched. They certainly are not giving an inch of space to each other.
Absolutely. This is how the game of Valorant is meant to be played. This is how the game of Valorant is supposed to build up. And when you can see a team such as Gangan Galaxy struggle this much up against Team EXO, an up-and-coming squad, you can tell that they have put in the hours and they have put in the effort to really hone their skills to a point where they will be feared. But now, with an eco coming through for the members of Gangan Galaxy, similar problems to what Team EXO had previously. Even though they win out on 4 rounds consecutively, the fact that they were just not able to win it out in a very decisive fashion, they are suffering from the success here. Garong now does have a weapon to really bring onto the table for his team. Takes the entire squad over to a 2 versus 3 situation, a very winnable one at that. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. As Team EXO now, what's the game plan here? You need to divert all of your members into one singular spot because the spike's just sitting in tree and they need to open the door to try and retrieve it. But instead, Garong could just instantly pick it up. Never mind. I take it all back. They're gonna try to run around here. Scar tries to beat the timing over onto one of these players. He goes in for the kill, but he misses out on the opportunity. Instead, it's gonna be Alpha Warrior who shuts him down. And now, Garong, he needs to be the one to step up to the plate. Down over to a 1v3. Perfect angle coming in from Alpha Warrior. Not going to be expected. And a 4K for the Reyna to close things out. 5-4, ladies and gentlemen. As Gangan Galaxy, they lose out on the eco, but they deal a good amount of damage. But if they got that spike climb down, it would have been enough for
5-4, Team EXO IND. Not really imagine them still holding on to their composure after losing 4 rounds on a trot, but this seems like Team EXO IND, they've got their work cut out. They know how to counter Gangan Galaxy. It's just about finding the right opportunities. An eco round coming in from this team, which means that another opportunity for Team EXO IND to get themselves a little bit of a breathing room or possibly a cushion. This side, moving on towards the B side now. Gangan Galaxy have got themselves the control that they were asking for. Meanwhile, the C push is still holding on. They're not planting the spike as of yet. Instead, they're rotating towards the C side, which is completely broken open. Alpha Warrior will find Knight Rider, who was overstepping a little bit. Paranoia from Godspree, which threw the opposition completely with Mighty Steel Strike shotguns. Beautifully done from close range. Goran gets one for himself as well as he smokes off the wings of the site. No entries. Shut us down for this Thor Mighty. Almost about to get the kill for himself, but the recon was in position. But it's still fine as Gangan Galaxy get themselves 5 rounds on board. Thrifty round coming in for them, but it was visibly an economy. Was trying to keep the economy in check, light shields equipped, but their movement from B to C and that direct entry onto site. Savage Yoda being isolated as well. Feel like everything came together to give Gangan Galaxy that round for themselves. Equalizer coming through.
Absolutely, this round was an absolute beauty to watch, and you can tell that the members of Gangan Galaxy, they really put in the effort for that one. All the members able to find those openers that they needed, and the last rush in towards the C side just gave them such a good opening. But for now, Team EXO, it's all about the resets here. It's now you're the ones at the weaker buy stage. So a lot of the weapons that they do have will not bear a lot of fruit here. They want to go in for that kill. So Ground gets caught out almost immediately. The poor old guy couldn't even turn on the overdrive to try and make a run for it. Over from the sidelines, it's going to be Mighty who just slides into the DMs of Sinks there. Catches him on the back end of side. 5-6 on the scorecards as the ankle breaker makes the entry happen and his team just follows up. 5-6 now, ladies and gentlemen, as Gangan Galaxy they're looking to put the pedal to the metal.
Yep. 5-6 the scoreline. Gangan Galaxy once again to recover. It's almost like a cat and mouse chase, just like I said in the last game, right? It's not the map, it's not the composition, it's 10 players on the server who are just giving it their all in every single round, and I love this. Scar being the top fragger uniquely though, because Vice rather acts as a pseudo sentinel. But this time though, he is a sentinel, but I call him a pseudo sentinel because of his tenacity to always go in for the first bloods. The amount of first bloods I think which Scar has picked up is unparalleled, and look at this once again with the operator. Go for another one. He will find himself arena though. But does he catch that is my question. He does need to find the timing. It's all about the right timing. Finally gets the information at least. Mighty on the other side gets Savage. The duels being set up on towards the A side. The engagement with the operator has been neutralized per se, but Team X with IND, they have 3 players to defend this strike, and I don't think it's going to be enough.
It's gonna be difficult, but not really impossible for the members of Team X over here. As they're trying to run in, never mind, it could be impossible because now you lost out on Godspeed. Very key player for a lot of your overall setups, as now Ganola looking for the last 2. Alpha Warrior needs to be the one to step onto the table. Multiple players already coming in from multiple different angles. TP across over from the side is wrong. Hold off a Flex Ninja here, something that we haven't seen in a while. 5-7 now, ladies and gentlemen. It's Gangan Galaxy. They take a lead for themselves as they go over to the defensive side, which is a little bit easier, arguably, on this 3-sided map, but count your chickens with what they have just yet, because overall, Team Exo, they're still trying to get as many of these rounds as they possibly can under their belt. One of the good things is that Alpha Warrior's been having a little bit more of a better game here. He had a quiet performance in map number 1, but in map number 2, it seems as though he's back in.
Set in the scoreline, Gangan Galaxy on the lead, needs to preserve it though. If they do get the pistol round in the round after that, I feel like it will be a considerable advantage for this team to look forward to. But Team Exo IND, will they allow that from happening is my question, because they've always been managing to strike back. And this time as well, if they get the pistol round, I believe they might just recover things. First kill already in the bag. Sangram, check behind you. He still manages to get Mighty. A blunder committed by Knight Rider, but he's still... I don't even know what to say, right? Every single kill, it's more like a trade, right? It's not like a tactical measure. Majority of the players, they're just playing on the back of each other. But nonetheless, it's a 1v2 right now, which Alpha Warrior and Savage Yoda will need to defend. We've seen Gangan Galaxy, especially Gorang, turn things around from this position. The spike and the tree post plant, which is always so hard to decode, but especially with Gorang being in position, I feel like the right usage of utility, Alpha Warrior and Savage Yoda, both of them will try to get it. Gorang finds the first one, but Alpha Warrior is just too quick on the trigger. 6th round for Team Exo IND. Pistol round, which was so crucial for them, is already in the bag, and potentially the round following up as well. Which means we will be back to ground 0 aggressive.
All of these teams, they could just be coming into that equalizer, or it also could be Gangan Galaxy taking a possible clutch here. You never really know. Don't forget that we are talking about Gangan Galaxy after all. Guys that have been going in for multiple equal round victories, so working on their chickens before they had just yet. As for now, okay, never mind. Maybe you should, because Alpha Warrior, good God, that aim on these players are just absolutely insane. Alpha on a jiggle, just immediately bringing him back down to earth. Knight Rider not really finding the value that you generally would know him for. Skorong tries to go in for the kill, but immediately just gets put on the slip. As for now, they're trying to go in for the hit from the sidelines. Wrong. Perfect utilization of the TP once again. The guy's just been doing this over and over again. He's having a little bit of fun here on the rounds that don't really count, as now Scar needs to be the one to step up to the table. Sheriff to be able to reign supreme on fights like this. He looks for the headshot. He does get it, but immediately gets brought back down to the seas. 7-7. Scorecard change up and an equalization for the members of Team Exo, but for how long can they hold this equalizer? Because Gangan Galaxy now, they have their full buy.
Yeah. I mean, once again, irrespective of the fact that Gangan Galaxy, if they do get this round or no, I feel like they've done the hard work. I'm talking about Exo IND. Imagine this, I mean, being 5-7 and Gangan Galaxy won their pistol round and the follow-up. It would have been 9, which does seem like a difficult position to be in, but 7-7, I feel like Team X IND can let go. They do have a reason to breathe. It will be difficult, especially with Gangan Galaxy coming back with a full buy, but Team X IND, at least their morale is going to be in the right place. Mighty, though, has given his position away with that Guardian shots. Savage Yoda will be waiting for that. Stuns do come through. You spotted a couple of players, not just a couple, in fact, a lot of them onto the B side. And now Team IND wants to make use of that opportunity, wants to hit back ASAP. Cleans out all the angles. Utility does come through. Fade. No information being found as the swarm grenades do come in. Mighty in position. Does have the Guardian to work with. Shots don't connect. Classic! Sangram will all. Once again, trades going back, which brings us back to a 2-2. You look at the finish feed and you know it is a trade game. It is just positions after positions after positions. This has been the script of the night. It's just whichever team follows up after a kill better, they will always get the round for themselves. And now, talking about the round for themselves, it seems like a 2v2. It's not for Gangan Galaxy. Can potentially get themselves their first round in the second half, but XYND in a good position to actually hold this. It's a 1v1 now. Savage Yoda not looking in the right direction. Gangan Galaxy. They get themselves exactly what they wanted. 8th round on board and a win in the full buy round.
Very crucial win at that as well. They don't want to give this one up because that would forfeit out a lead towards the members of Team EXO here, but a very expensive round at that for them. Lost out on a bunch of their weapons. They're not going to be able to go in for the proper buys here. Savage Yoda does take the immediate attack time out here. I do believe that they need to talk a little bit about what their overall strategy is going to be looking like moving forward in the round, but one of the bigger surprises has to be the way that Gangan Galaxy are taking more of these engagements, and especially from Team EXO, because now, before we saw on the map of Haven where a lot more of their fights felt much more solo orientated, now in the map of Lotus, they're together like a well-oiled machine and a trooper of the unit. As you can tell that there are players, they're ready to take these fights together as a team, and they're not going to be shying away from full sending it if they need to find that trade. And Gangan Galaxy, they weren't really prepared for it, but you could tell that they're adapting on the fly. That adaptation can carry you so far forward in a game of Valorant. And on the map of Lotus, where adaptability is key, even more than any of the other maps, this one skill could be the edge that they need to inch this victory out to take a possible 2-0 in the series.
Well, anyway, the scoreline aggressive. I like what I see the competition on both the sides. The map of Haven, the map of Lotus, both going in similar, in a similar way, in a similar fashion, to be honest. And now, with the game coming to a halt, I think both the two teams will get themselves a little bit of a breathing room, a little bit of time to just discuss things amongst themselves. It's so important, to be honest. We don't value the pauses, we don't value the breaks that teams get, but the amount of change that happens post the break is actually quintessential. Now, Aggressive, since you have been following the Valorant circuit, not just in India, but also internationally, I think you would know the importance of these, not just the tactical pauses, but also the tech pauses. And when that happens, you know things can actually change. Not because somebody has got something special in their mouse, they are fixing things up. No, not that. It's because teams do get a little bit of time to just reset their mentality and find a way to get back to their rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's generally done by the losing team. And from the opposition, you can tell that it's just that snowball effect that the players generally have. You just lose it. Your team's not really going to be in the zone anymore, because don't forget, at the end of the day, the people who are still playing the game of Valorant, yeah, they have robotic aim. They are probably the best aimers in the entire world, but they're still human at the end of the day. They will start to think about a lot more things. They will not really be in that flow state anymore. You break their concentration and they need to get themselves back in towards that game. That's generally what these pauses are for, to allow you as the losing team to get back into the zone and to force your opponent to get out of that zone. But it seems as though the members of Team EXO, they found out those openings. Mighty already trying to go in for the cross up here, but Scar's positioning completely revealed. Team EXO immediately go in for a side rush in towards the B side right after the pause here. And Gangan Galaxy, again, it's that instant change in the pacing that caused the members of Gangan Galaxy to fall apart. They were not ready for a hit of this speed. They got the proper read and the proper timing for this play, but they were not expecting every single member of EXO to run in like this.
Spike planted. Gangan Galaxy have a long way to at least even reach the spike. Slow walking their way into the side. I'm not sure if that is the best way to do it, but Sangram is also in position. Now this will be an off-guard angle, which I think Inola and Mighty might not expect. Dead shifting Guardian just comes through. Needs to stay put at this point. Kinola finds one, might find the second, not really. Team EXO IND, they find themselves the 8th round once again. Wow. These teams are really testing my patience at this point, because I feel like it's so hard to call out and predict a winner for this. If I can manage to get the victory, it will be a 2-0, but the scoreline will actually not justify how competitive these games have been actually.
Absolutely. There's a lot of worries that you need to think about in a game like this for the members of Gangan Galaxy. It's all about those first initial bouts in this battle. Once again, the stack timing, it's perfect, but they're being isolated in towards the corner here. They're not going to be able to survive this one for long. Ganola with the Ares is going to be able to find the kill, but look at Alpha Warrior still going ham here on the server, in towards the back end of the side. He's still going to be hitting. He's not going to be missing out on those shots as Karong just runs away at a very awkward angle. You're the classic, bro, and he still tried to keep you onto heaven and then take a fight. Slightly questionable, but then again, Gangan Galaxy didn't really have the best of weapons going into this round. But Alpha Warrior, good God, this one player from game number 1 going into game number 2 is really showing why Reyna can be so potent and powerful if you start hitting your shots.
Well, Godspray. He's in position, waiting for Scar to go in for the tapping. Crosshair already in action, and the shots to give us the fact that players already Alpha Warrior with the Quadra in this round. It's not the first time this man has gotten himself 4 kills, and it's always that football with the arena where you not just set yourself up after the first kill, but also go on to something much larger like a triple kill or a finish. 9-8 the scorecard as Team EXO IND once again further. First time in the second half of this matchup, but they're still 3 or 4 rounds away from victory, or at least even things up in a best of 3 this time though. With the flash already, a little bit of think of what they're trying to do. Mighty will try to flashes do come through, but Gora, beautiful. I mean, his gameplay is beautiful. He for sure is a guy, but 2v5, what a suppression of the attack did we just witness all by himself. Gorang, Manji Beauty.
Absolutely. When Gorong's on the server and when Gorong is on the site, expect multi-frags to come through if you do not clear this man on an instant trade. That's how dangerous he is. Tit for tat here, ladies and gentlemen, as members of Team EXO now need to make a beeline for it towards an opposite side to just gain some information of where these players could be in this next bout. Now though, Gangan Galaxy is just about relaxing in the positions that you're already in, because you have all the ultimates that you could ask for in the entire universe other than the overdrive in the hands of the Neon.
30 seconds left.
For now though, it's going to be Knight Rider. It's going to be that first line here. They want some information, especially with the wall coming in from the Vice. As soon as one person goes in for that cross, Knight Rider, he's walking up, lurking in for the kill. Knows the last player is already present, up and ready. Fully stunned in. He's stuck in towards the side. 11 seconds left on the clock. Needs to opt for the plan. While every single one of the players, they're already up and running for this duel. But good God, never mind. Savage Yoda, he's turning this one around. Down over to a 3v1 now. He's looking for more, but with only 27 HP, he has nothing to work with. Scar, he's gonna be the one to shut him down, but good God, Savage Yoda, that was a very good try from your end. Almost had me believing for a second. Almost.
It's almost like a test match, to be honest, at this point. If any of our viewers are accustomed to cricket, they would know. A test match is a match. It's about composure. It's about maintaining till the very. And there will be multiple situations where one team is ahead, meanwhile the other team is on the back foot. None of these teams are on the back foot or ahead point. So evenly plays. It seems like composure has never been more important. Team XO IND want to hit that C side very aggressively, but it seems like they've kind of been stopped. Not really. They have reached past the defenses, and Galaxy giving them that liberty to just come in and plant the spike comfortably. But they do have the rolling thunder, which has been utilized, and now this is the time when they do flood in. Scar and Knight Rider 2 quick kills, but Savage
My
then
God,
Godspeed to
Yoda.
the side to absolutely bet hopes in a 1v2. Team XO IND win, and what a rolling thunder it was. Gangan Galaxy, they almost thought that they could get the better of the opposition, but they're standing outside the side. They were like, nope, not happening.
It nearly worked too. The ultimate utilization was perfect, but Gorong just TP'd into the most awkwardest of positions. I have no idea why he just sent himself forward in the middle of side without any flashes from his team. Slight bit questionable, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, but wrong for a reason. You're gonna make some mistakes here as a player. Just need to adapt to it. Team XO now with the lead in their favor. It's gonna be Gangan Galaxy who needs to bring themselves back in towards this game. The Razor Prison from the side. The Steel Prison, sorry, if I do remember the name properly. Is still in the hands of Vice. As for now. Still a lot of ults to play for, but with the Empress now online, that Reina is a little bit scary. You need to be careful of how much you're getting away with, because at Grom, you already found the engagement in Ganola. He's gonna be the first one to die. That's another big ult already being taken off the table. You no longer have the Nightfall to play for. Oh, big kill.
Quick kills, some ramen Scott. This is that I've been waiting for. Knight Rider and Gorham as well. Look at Gorham. Now,
No,
ultimate
too
being
early.
committed from the wayside. I almost felt like should have been it. Results in their favor as well. Gangan Galaxy just not being able to make use of the utility usage. TD inching further, but Scar still managed to find one. Reduces the difference back to just one man. It's a 3v2. Scar coming out of that quick angle. Meanwhile, Tapwire rolling thunder, staying, and 9-2 points success. Team XO IND somehow coming from all three corners and find themselves a 2-round advantage. These little brilliances, which I believe make such a big difference. That rolling thunder that missed Savage Yoda and Gorong in the last round, and now this time around, we got to see that ultimate from the Vice as well, but it did not really work the way he wanted to. Galaxy ultimate, two big ones in fact, to beat by the opposition, and Team XO IND are known for adapting to the opposition and really making use of the advantage. Mighty caught in a very position over there. Does manage to hold on to his dear life, but the flash of the paranoia coming through will be forced. But just not really. Sunram is there to make opportunity of it and capitalize the opportunity as well. 2 kills in Gangan Galaxy. So why indeed they look to move to match point and potentially equaling things out in this best of 3. Might be moving on. Third map, ladies and gentlemen, if Sunram keeps on doing what he's doing right now. Triple kill, possibly the 4th as well. Trying to stop him. 2v4 right now, but still extremely difficult, especially with Scar on that Sheriff. A high-low setup from the lads on towards the entrance. Alpha fight, but no connection as of yet. Gangan Galaxy looking to hold on to their horses, but not the time to do so. Do they have weapons? Do they have positioning? Do they have utility? A lot of questions being asked, but not a lot of time. With their scar, this man will be butchered by bullets at this point, and I wouldn't even be just get the kill, but I feel bad for some. Team IND 1 round away from match point, ladies and gentlemen. Is not match point, 1 round away from cleaning things up. Yeah, match, and I feel like they are in a position where it's at the fat game. It's almost like repeat measure aggressive.
Absolutely. This is where things are going to be going for them. They did opt to go in for a little bit more of a safe round in that last one, so they weren't really able to go in for an easy fight, but for now, they're going to need to try and make this one work. No real mistakes anymore. One loss of a body is going to be painful for them and Team Exo, they understand this. They're taking a lot more of a laid-back approach, not really forcing any of these engagements. They're going to take it slow and steady up against them. Opportunities presented. Now, going for the hit. Clearance already for the first initial player. The problem child for the team already being shut down here as Mighty stuck on an island. He can't really go in for the swing. Being forced out in towards the corner. He still gets a kill regardless. Down over to the last player as the saving grace for the team could be up and present, but against Savage Yoda, they can't get overly aggressive. You need to be careful where you're heading on to. Ginola has no respect whatsoever for his opposition. He is just gonna step on the gas pedal to make sure his team is still in it for the running. Good shots coming in from either side of this. A crossfire will switches from all the members of Gangan Galaxy, but don't forget, they are fighting for an overtime, not a map victory just yet. They need to stabilize, and they need to keep this energy for their team if they want to win.
Well, and Gangan Galaxy not giving up just yet. Till 10, but that has been destroyed already. This time, a more active presence onto the C side. I think Gangan Galaxy has this. The more they give up the C side, the more easier they make things for Team Exo IND, because of course, when you have holding on to that entrance, it's a lot harder to retake, especially when you don't utility for it. Rolling Thunder is not available. A couple of flashes being there. Gorang watch a couple of these players fly by in front of him, but that's okay because he can come back and hit from behind. Look at that. Mighty to hold on to this position just a bit longer. Gorang and Mighty find your timing, misses it once again. This is brutal. Gorang finds one, but Savage Yoda is there. Fake TP with the smoke. He'll watch that pass, but it seems like Gangan Galaxy, they stitch a couple of kills all together, and they themselves around 11 to 12, and I don't know how they are making things work. Team Exo IND had such a beautiful positioning, but chuck that. A plunge was so brutal. Not for Team Gangan Galaxy, but for Exo instead, because as soon as they hit this side, 3 bodies fell down, and that was it. Look at the scorecard, 24 frags for that. Gangan Galaxy round in fact, and it seems like from where they were supposed to lose this, it might just be with them. Things where, look at Scar being pushed back by that Fate utility. Now will be in a position of importance. Shotgun was there, but Scar still manages to strike. Knight Rider with the pistol instead is gonna find more success as well. 3v5 right there. They're almost about to go to overtime at this.
That chase was a little bit too aggressive for his own good for this one. As for now, a little bit too scared for that. As soon as that only been. I thought that, oh no, all the members of Gangan was the smoke, and they're gonna die one by one. But instead, they keep their cool, they keep their calm for this one. Inside of the smoke, trying to stop them from taking too much of an over-aggressive engagement as soon as the smoke now fades in. This is gonna be a problem. Ginola, multiple frags. Savage Yoda, that's fine too, but it is just not gonna be enough. 12 to 12, ladies and gentlemen. This is where the game of Valorant has now heated up. Overtime now kicking through as this game of Lotus, is not over just yet. Build upon the momentum, keep the ball rolling in your court, because both the teams of Team EXO and Team Gangan Galaxy are not yet ready to give up. No operators coming through from the side of EXO for this round. But one good op, I do believe, on the defensive side could bear so much fruit for their victory here.
It's an action replay, to be honest. It's just that we are going to overtime. I'm not sure what to think of this entire game, to be honest. Team EXO IND, once again, they lose so many rounds on a trot. It's third. But this time, at least in overtime, they will get to switch sides, and that does refresh things up. Takes away money out of the game as well. It's your skill sets at this point in Team EXO IND. They already had the first kill on board Savage Yoda. Onto the C side, we've seen this happen quite a lot, where the C side has been given up on multiple occasions. And I think Savage Yoda will be forced to do so yet again as well. But do they manage to find the retake will be my question, as Scar finds the first one. Sings is down. One very important player on BT Alpha Warrior, tying things up a little bit. It's 3-on-3 right now.
This is gonna be a trade after trade, ladies and gentlemen. This is so risky. Already being taken. Wrong's gonna be able to shut down Alpha Warrior, a player that has been a thorn on their sides for so many of these rounds. The possibility of a 2-0 could be at the cards for their team, but it's already dependent on whether or not this kill's gonna come in. Knight Rider with the perfect timing. Wrong with the finisher. Sweep from inside of the smoke. The players did not see a damn thing, but their game sense and their spike senses were tingling. They sensed the danger, and they shot before it came through. It's now Team EXO picking up those fallen pieces. They're treading on eggshells at this point, because one slip up, one misstep, and this overtime is all but over. It was 12 to 9, Salty. 12 to goddamn 9, and now we're looking at a 12 to 13 scoreline. How do you want to take this duel? How do you want to take this fight? It is all going to start here. Mighty already taking a fight. He takes a double kill. Never mind. 6 takes even more damage. He's down to 29 HP. It's all about playing it slow. Gangan Galaxy, you don't do a damn thing anymore. You just sit into the side and look pretty. Because it's all over. Because as of right now, Team EXO, they need to be the ones who make the move.
True that, man. True that. Remember that famous line from one of my favorite shows, Breaking Bad, right? Where Walter White suggests that I'm not in danger. I'm the danger. Gangan Galaxy must be exactly. They were not in danger. They were, because their last maneuvers, especially what we saw in this map as well, the composure is insane. Doesn't matter if losing side, doesn't matter if they're on the winning side. They always stitch these last rounds together. A similar reference can also be brought up from Real Madrid when they're playing the Champions League. In the final minutes of the game, you never really know where Madrid or when Madrid is going to strike. It's just about will they do the right time? And it seems like this time, Gangan Galaxy, they certainly are striking really well. For Team EXO IND, the information has been passed that they are trying to hit the A side. Korang is already in that position. Does miss the first shot, which he is going to be in trouble, loses his life. Gangan Galaxy, they are in position, but Savage Yoga finds 2 quick kills. Ginola as well, not really a lot of HP, but this information, this bit of utility can change things up. Will the Vice be crucial? Will Ginola wait? Will they be able to work things out on the timing? It's going to be my question. They do have time. Just keep your composure, boys. Let Ginola job. Ginola falls. Alpha Warrior turns things around. Their guardian angel on the arena. This man is on a 27 frags. To drop a 30 bomb, protecting Team EXO IND from vanishing, from diminishing to a minuscule in this tournament.
10 seconds.
They still have the hopes of taking it to the third map, and Gangan Galaxy are left wondering what just happened.
I do not understand when Grong tried to TP away like that. You just hold down the line, you pray that your teammate comes in time, gives you a flash and holds you captive for that duel already. The first engagements are going to do, they're going to be going in for a little bit of a chase here. Down over it towards the corner, the Reyna is not going to be able to survive for long. They're still going to be able to find those shots in dismiss, able to find value, able to still find kills. Alpha Warrior finally gets shut down, but that's going to be your entry duelist down. Being taken off of the table. They need to slow back down over to a crawl, a 1-to-1 trade for either side, yes, but the defenders losing out on one of their key members here. It's gonna be tough as Gangan Galaxy now need to turn everything back on it. It's for now systematic for the play here. It's the players of Team EXO looking for this victory. They need to find it quick. Neon for the optimal rotation down over towards the entry side. Sinks. He's going to try to go in for the kill. They're trying to bait out as many of these players as they possibly can. They're looking for that first initial engagement. Sinks is going to be the first line of contact here. Looking for the kill. Flashes come through. It's going to be the recon who gets his attention. And a really good 1-2-3 swing coming in from the members of Gangan Galaxy. Get the spike line down for themselves. They have stabilized. They don't have any ultimates online, but that's completely fine and dandy. It's all opening on this first initial kill. He spots it out. Night Rider stepping up to the table. Ladies and gentlemen, one by one, they keep on falling against Team EXO. They cannot bring it for themselves to take this win. And losing out on Alpha Warrior that early on is pretty much what's the final nail in the coffin for them. If Alpha Warrior is not alive, I don't see a world where they're gonna be able to take this victory.
And I think you have realized the win condition quite late in this game. The players would have realized that much earlier. Win condition makes IND keep Alpha Warrior alive. How do I explain that to Aggressive? This man is playing on Arena.
I mean, he's a really good player, dude.
Come to the line, my friend. Come to the line. But nonetheless, 13-14, Gangan Galaxy. The lead, which once again has sort of been neutralized because the first game goes in the hands of Team EXO IND. This is going to be a long night, ladies and gentlemen. I think... I'm not sure where the match is going to end because these two teams are going toe-to-toe in every round per se. Gangan Galaxy, lead in hand, they've sort of sacrificed on the initial pawn. But they do have 4 very important agents still up and alive. It all comes down to the defensive measure, the information being given out onto the C side, which forces Gangan Galaxy to think there might be a C hit, but I like the fact that they don't really move. Look at the amount of baiting measures that has been given up. The smokes, the Fade utilities onto the C side, but Gangan Galaxy are reading this like an oak smoke. Been towards the B side as well, as slowly and steadily they do decide to venture. Nola track, he watches everyone step into Lona and Night Rider. They tackle up, but Alpha War gets one. This is a fight which Gangan Galaxy just turned around. 12 more seconds that they need to hold on to. Then Spike is lying right out there. Alpha Warrior wants to go in. He gets down. 1v3 right now as Ginola wins. Gangan Galaxy take the victory, but a hard-fought one. EXO IND. What a strike it was. What a beautiful strike, but now I'm lagging. Aggressive, take things over.
Yeah, Salty's got to be fixing out his internet, ladies and gentlemen. You can tell that this entire game was built upon the foundation that, hey, we as a team need some time to really prep. You could tell that on those earlier rounds, the members of Gang and Galaxy were really struggling. They were not able to coordinate together as a team. But similar to what happened in map number 1, as soon as the game progressed into those later stages of the round, the late game really came through. That the team just was much more well synergized. They were hitting a lot more of their shots. They were able to coordinate a lot more better. Mighty got the utility that he needed coming in from Knight Rider as well. And Knight Rider, as one of those players that you would generally see on the op to be one of those driving forces for a team, he took a much more of that support. He understood that, hey, as a team member, I need to be the one to set up my Neon for victory. And the victory really did come through purely because the members of Team EXO just didn't really have that level of utility to support the Reyna. The Reyna in a lot of these fights were completely by herself, isolated, and Alpha Warrior as a player, even though they did so much, it just didn't make any goddamn sense. But for now, when we are going to be heading on down over in towards the break here, we still have one more entire BO3 for you guys back at home. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out all the links down below in the description, and also the one on the pinned comment as well, because Amazon is giving 40% off on select laptops. If you want any of that jazz, make sure to check out all of that. But for now, we're going to be heading on down over into a very short little break, and we'll be back with a lot more Valorant action for the Intel Gamer Days Valorant Cup. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're now back, ladies and gentlemen, and Salty's by my side this time around. The boy has fixed it, and we're going to be jumping down over into the statistics to just get a quick recap of how this game really went down, because I think we do need to talk about this, and I want to hear your perspective on this, Salty. That's why we are now jumping back into this. Team Exo, they pulled off miracles in round after round for game number 2, but it just did not really amount to anything, because Alpha Warrior was the only one really able to do it. Game number 1 was a completely different story. Alpha Warrior was not able to do much, but his entire team was pulling their own weight. Second game on, it's kind of the same story for Gangan Galaxy, right? They had a slow start, but at the very end, they were a landslide.
Came to the final bit, right? The final bit where Gangan Galaxy and IND. Yeah, that is where I think both the two teams just take it away. But look at this, Alpha Warrior team from Team 8. This man was the MVP, but could not really ensure his team's victory. Tried his best, of course, 29 kills, 20 deaths, 283 ACS. But it's just that the professional players on the other side, they just knew what to do. Bag end of the game as well. But ladies and gentlemen, the MVP of the entire T20 with 43 kills, 32 deaths, a 38.74 shot rate. Over the course of 2 games, I think that is a lot.
Absolutely, but you have to give it to Alpha to have a 45% headshot percentage on just one game. Half of that guy's kills were just headshots. That's Scream level statistics right there for a reason. The guy's got the aim to make it work, and he's also got the agent to make it happen. But sadly, for the members of Team Exo, this is where they're going to be sent on back down over to that lower bracket. So it's going to be a sad story for them, but still the revenge story is up and present if they are able to do so. But for now, we're going to be heading on down over into a break, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to set up the second BO3 for you guys back at home. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with a lot more action for the Intel Gamer Days Valorant.
not a game, it's a